Greetings, everyone. We are pleased to present our study titled Silent Bruises, Strong Voices, Lived Experiences, and Coping Mechanisms of Filipino High School Students in Bullying Context. This research was conducted by Jerome Benedict Alipasa, yours truly, Clark Dominic Alipasa, Dr. Rosemary Balagtas, Maria Silvia Gulayan, and Ms. Dana Eliza Lontok from the University Perpetual Help System Delta in Cavite. This study explores how Filipino high school students experience bullying and the ways they cope within the cultural and institutional environment of Philippine schools. As a matter of fact, bullying remains a persistent issue affecting adolescents worldwide, including the Philippines. It manifests in various forms such as verbal harassment, relational exclusion, and cyberbullying, all of which significantly affect students' emotional well being, social relationships, and academic engagements. In the Philippine context, cultural values such as pakikisama or maintaining social harmony and hiya, a sense of shame, may discourage students from openly reporting bullying experiences. Despite the seriousness of this issue, there is still limited research that deeply explored the lived experiences of these Filipino students facing bullying in different forms. This gap highlights the importance of a phenomenological research that captures their voices and perspectives.
Before presenting our findings, it is important to situate our study within a broader global framework. The research aligns with key Sustainable Development Goals, namely SDG 4 Quality Education, SDG 3 Good Health and Well-being, SDG 10 Reduce Inequalities, and SDG 16 Peace, Justice, and Strong Institutions. It supports SDG 4 by promoting safe and inclusive learning environment wherein conditions such as bullying directly undermines it. It also relates to SDG 3 as bullying is closely linked to anxiety and psychological distress. Moreover, it reflects SDG 10 since bullying often targets differences and reinforces exclusion. Finally, it connects to SDG 16, emphasizing the role of schools in fostering respect and fairness. With these global priorities in mind, we now turn to existing studies that further explain the impact of bullying and how it is addressed in educational settings. Existing literature highlights that bullying often leads to emotional distress, anxiety, and reduced self-esteem among adolescents. Victims may also experience psychosomatic symptoms and difficulties maintaining academic focus. Research further shows that students adopt different coping strategies. Some responses are adaptive, such as seeking social support or engaging in hobbies, while others are maladaptive, including avoidance, emotional suppression, or withdrawal. Additionally, previous studies emphasize the importance of institutional response, such as clear reporting systems, teacher awareness, and peer support programs in addressing bullying effectively within schools. While these studies provide valuable insights, they also reveal the need to further explore students' lived experiences, leading us to the methodology of this research. This study utilized a transcendental phenomenological research design, which focuses on understanding individuals' lived experiences. 12 Filipino high school students from grades 9 to 12 who had experienced bullying were selected through purposive sampling. Data were collected through semi-structured interviews lasting approximately 45 to 60 minutes. These interviews were audio recorded and transcribed verbatim. For data analysis, the study followed the modified Stevie-Colaisi-Keene method involving bracketing, thematic clustering, imaginative variation, and synthesis of meanings. Ethical considerations were carefully observed, including parental consent, student assent, confidentiality through pseudonyms, and referral to counseling services when needed. Through this process, we were able to capture rich narratives, which led to the emergence of four major themes, and they include the following: living in fear, silence voices, navigating coping strategies, and seeking safe spaces. For the first theme, living in fear, it reflects the chronic anxiety and constant vigilance experienced by students who anticipate further bullying. As one participant shared, every day I would wonder what they would say or do to me next. This highlights how fear reshapes their daily routines, decision making, and even their sense of self. Building on this, the second theme, Silence Voices, shows that many students choose not to report bullying due to fear of ridicule, disbelief, or shame. One respondent explained, I didn't tell anyone because I thought they would laugh at me or think I am too sensitive. This demonstrates how silence becomes a protective, yet limiting response. The third theme, navigating coping strategies, highlights how students shift between adaptive and maladaptive coping mechanisms, depending on their situation and available support. As one participant noted, sometimes I avoided them. Other times, I tried to distract myself with drawing or music. This reflects the complex ways students attempt to cope. And finally, seeking spaces underscore the importance of supportive relationships with peers, family members, or teachers in helping students cope. However, gaps in institutional support remain evident. As shared by a respondent, the school doesn't have a clear way to report bullying, and counselors are not always available. This emphasizes the need for safe spaces and the awareness of the respondents about its condition.
Let me share with you the discussion on the interplay of factors, and we were able to identify core four critical dimensions. Number one is the emotional burden. We see that students aren't just upset. They are living in a state of chronic anxiety and hypervigilance. This isn't just a feeling. It actively disrupts their ability to engage with their academics and daily school life. Number two is the cultural influence or the cultural barrier. What makes this even more challenging is our cultural context. The very values we prize, social harmony, avoiding shame, unintentionally create a wall of silence. Victims often feel they shouldn't speak to avoid disturbing the peace. Dynamic coping. This includes the strategies are fluid, shifting between adaptive, and these are the mechanisms being used by the students. Institutional support. Finally, while students are resilient and do try to cope, they cannot do it alone. Their success depends on us. Unfortunately, our participants highlighted significant gaps like reporting procedures remain unclear, counseling services are often too limited to meet the need. Conclusion, complexities, and impacts. To bring our discussion to a close, we look at the broader complexities and impacts of these findings. The final slides serves as the synthesis of our research, moving from the why and how to the ultimate reality of the student experiences. In conclusion, bullying has profound emotional and psychological impacts on Filipino students, often leading to chronic fear, reduced self-esteem, and decreased academic engagement. Cultural norms may influence how students respond to bullying, sometimes discouraging them from seeking help. Although students demonstrate resilience through various coping strategies, these efforts are often insufficient without consistent institutional support. Therefore, addressing bullying requires a holistic approach that combines cultural awareness, supportive relationships, and stronger school system.
Based on the findings, our study proposes several recommendations. Schools should strengthen whole school anti-bullying frameworks that include clear policies, transparent reporting mechanisms, and preventive education. Peer support programs and student-led initiatives should also be encouraged to foster inclusive and supportive school environments. Teacher training is essential in recognizing bullying behaviors and responding with trauma-informed and culturally sensitive strategies. Additionally, schools should expand access to counseling services and implement continuous monitoring systems to evaluate the effectiveness of the anti-bullying programs. For our implications for policy and future research. At the policy level, national anti-bullying guidelines should be strengthened to ensure accountability and adequate resource allocation. There is also a need to standardize implementation frameworks across schools to reduce disparities in student protection. For future research, studies should involve larger and more diverse samples and consider longitudinal approaches to better understand how students' experiences and coping strategies evolve over time. So thank you. We hope you have learned something about our research. And to conclude, bullying is not only an individual issue but also a systematic and cultural concern that requires collaborative action. By listening to the voices of students and understanding their lived experiences, educators, policymakers, and communities can create safer and more supportive learning environments. Thank you very much for your attention, and we welcome your questions and insights.